This is ANN News Brief.
Many Africans may not realize the importance of this month. 400 years ago, it was in late August 1619 that the first African slaves landed in America. In handwritten records, it was gathered that, quote, 20 and odd Africans seized from a Portuguese slave ship headed to what is now Mexico. Those captives from Angola, who were sold in exchange for food and other supplies, were the first known Africans to reach Virginia. Those arrivals 400 years ago were the beginning of slavery in English-speaking America, and it lasted for more than 2 centuries. The United States of America is marking the 400th anniversary of that history this month. Emory University's Transatlantic Slave Trade Database in Atlanta shows that from 1525 to 1866, at least 12.5 million captive Africans were put on ships bound for the Americas and the Caribbean. Of those, 11 million men, women, and children survived the treacherous voyages. They were chained and crowded below decks with little water or food. Most of them were taken to Brazil or the Caribbean, but nearly 400,000 arrived in what is now the United States. Eventually, the number of American slaves swelled to almost 4 million. Many African countries stand to lose millions of dollars from U.S. foreign aid if President Donald Trump's new order stands to freeze billions of dollars worth of foreign aid already approved by Congress. The president says the freeze is to review the 2 federal agencies affected. Those opposed to the order say the move will prevent the State Department and the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, from distributing $2 billion to $4 billion in aid. Trump timed the order for a period when Congress begins an extended recess that will make it difficult for the order to be blocked. Lawmakers are livid and have said President Trump's contempt for Congress is astounding. One Democratic lawmaker says this order would devastate the ability to project American values and leadership around the globe. Chief Executive Officer of the nonprofit U.S. Global Leadership Coalition, Liz Schreier, has described the administration's order as a reckless and irresponsible move. The Trump administration made a similar attempt last year while Congress was in recess, but the White House abandoned the effort after opposition from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and members of Congress. Stay with us to return after this break.
Whether in your house, at your office, on your phone or online, we are there. We have the facts behind the headlines. We cut to the chase with the news you really need. We cover every angle. We are the bigger, better news network. We are African News Network, ANN. Watch ANN News on MITV from a truly African spirit.
Kenyan medical experts believe lives of newborn babies in the country who depend on breast milk could be saved by the first breast milk bank in the country, the second in Africa. The bank is located inside Pumwani Maternity Hospital in Nairobi to provide donated milk to babies in need. Nairobi's Pumwani Maternity Hospital has set up the breast milk bank in March to provide donated milk to babies in need. The milk bank is a joint project between Kenya's Health Ministry and PATH, a U.S.-based non-profit. The aim is to reduce the number of newborn deaths, which stand at 39 for every 1,000 live births in the country. The milk bank is for premature babies, those born with low birth weight, and those whose mothers may not be able to breastfeed them. Kenya plans to set up other milk banks across the country if the one in Nairobi succeeds. That's ANN News Brief. For details on these and other breaking stories, visit our website, annafrica.news. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I'm Lucy Adeyemi.